All right, guys, LP with SCW Service and Repair. I found an interesting article on the Wall Street Journal, and I think it'll be a good conversation for us to have. Uh, I presented a slideshow, and I also have the article up so that we can go through that. Uh, don't be afraid to find a new avenue for your business, breaking new ground. That is the first slide that I have right there. And this relates to the article and the things that it was talking about. Apple's business is going down. So what do they do? And it's not Apple's business as a whole, not the iPhones, the iPads, or the computers. This is Apple's music portion of their business. And they're losing. They're losing market share. But uh, they're trying something that's a little innovative out of the box. Uh, and we'll go through that right now. Start thinking outside the box and try something different. Right here, it says Apple knew what they were doing was not working. Why? Why did Apple know what they were doing wasn't working? Well, simply because they measure. The same way that in appliance repair, we should be measuring, we should have metrics that provide us information about the overall health of our business and the way things are going. Okay. They were measuring their users and their lack of users. We should be measuring our complete calls on our first time out. We should be measuring conversions. Well, every time you pick up that phone when someone calls you, do you actually complete a sale? Do you actually get to go out to that customer's home? Uh, there are a number of metrics that we most likely should have. And everybody's business is going to be a little bit different depending on how you run your business. But we all should be measuring our, our numbers in our business. That's how Apple knew that they had a problem. Uh, what's not working in your business? Is it the follow through with customers? Is it the communication of parts and ETA? I'm guilty of this also. A lot of times I'll order parts and I'll get so busy that I don't provide the ETA of the part to the customer. I'll just call them whenever it gets in, and then maybe sometimes, a day will go by because I run calls late into the evening and I don't get to call them back at an appropriate time. So that moves over into the next day. That's not really good. That's not good for our business, and that's not good for the customer because the customer is actively waiting for that part to fix their appliance. You know, we might think that it's no big deal, but to that customer that's paying you, it's a humongous deal. They're waiting on you, and we get wrapped up so many times in all the calls that we have, and we want everyone to be understanding of us and what we have going on. But we also have to be understanding of the customer, the person or persons that are actually paying us. So, with that said, uh, we need to make sure that whatever it is that we're lacking in our business, we're taking care of it, and we need to be measuring so that we'll understand and know when we have a problem. Comfort kills a slow death. Uh, Success can make you feel like you've reached the top and that everything is good. It's good enough. That is so true. I know when I started to win really, really big, or I felt like I won big off in the appliance repair industry, and money was coming in, I got complacent. Uh, I thought I was better than what I really was, and that hurts to say, and it hurts to come out, but it really is true. Sometimes you can drink the Kool-Aid and start to give yourself those attaboys and pats on the back when you should still be doubling down and grinding really hard to grow your business and to make it uh, or take it to the next level where you get comfortable. You get a few wins under your belt, and you know, one small thing that you say, "Oh, I can do that tomorrow." Oh, it really doesn't matter. It can really change your trajectory because that one thing that you let slip or go by the wayside turns into two or three things, and that'll really, really slow you down and slow your growth down. And I'm totally guilty of it. Like I said, thinking I was better than I was, thinking that, oh no, that's not gonna happen to me. There are just so many things, so many stories that I have about, the ups and downs of owning an appliance repair company that, we're not gonna get into all of them today, but there are so many things that can slow you down if you take your eye off the prize, if you take your foot off the gas, if you start to get complacent. Complacency kills. But Apple was measuring. They didn't get complacent. They were looking at the numbers and they knew they had to do something. All right. And like I said, they were measuring and they knew that they were hitting a downturn. So they decided to turn things around. You can turn things around 100%. I can turn things around because I have. And Apple's looking at turning things around by the move that they made. Let me get over here and see if we can't get to the article. All right, so it says Apple makes music push in radio after losing ground to Spotify. All right, I'm not going to read it all, but I'll go through a little bit of it. Apple will distribute its curated radio stations on a global network of home speakers and connected cars, a push to extend the reach of its music service. A deal with digital radio platform TuneIn is the first time that Apple's 6 radio stations will be available outside of the company's app. Beginning Wednesday, the Apple stations will be available to TuneIn's 75 million active users. Apple wants to bring some of their users into its own ecosystem. Many of the company's music subscribers sign up through free trial deals after they buy a new device. The aim is to convert Apple Music radio listeners into paying subscribers to the music service, which has fallen further behind Spotify in recent years. Apple's market share of digital music subscribers in the US fell to 25% at the end of last year from 30% in 2020. All right, so they're losing market share to Spotify. And that's the gist of it. Apple has never let their radio stations be played outside of their own ecosystem. They've kept everything close by, and that's kind of how we do our appliance repair businesses. We don't let out any information. We don't really branch off. I know single member appliance repair companies like myself. We're really private. We really don't want anyone to know any of our business. But if we're looking at our numbers and we really see that we have a problem, we have things that are going on and we can't seem to get a grasp of it. We definitely need to reach out to individuals who may be more versed, perhaps a mentor, perhaps one of your local appliance repair companies that you have formed a relationship with. That's why networking is so important and building relationships. Hey, I'm gonna raise my hand again because that's one of my weaknesses. I don't like to ask for help. I've always been a lone wolf, one who just does everything by itself. But the more I dive into reading, the more I dive into business, I'm really seeing that everyone has a network. And if you're out here by yourself, you really in a danger zone. So you want to build these strategic partnerships, just like Apple's building this strategic partnership with TuneIn Radio. You need to find your own TuneIn Radio and build you a partnership. You don't have to get into business right away, but you don't want to be at that very dire cusp of needing help and trying to build a relationship at that point. All right, let's set it over here. So, yeah, like I said, we can 100% turn this around, and we definitely don't want to get complacent. Complacency kills, as we talked about earlier. And most of this boils down to us stopping what we did in the beginning, the long hours, the hustling, the calls, uh, taking that extra time to make sure that everything is right the first time. A lot of times, like I said, we get complacent. We think we're better than we are. I'm guilty of it. I'm not trying to preach to you. I'm telling you through my own experience some of the things that happened to me. All right. Next, we need to have our eye on the market and always be looking around the corner to stay ahead. New software, AI, new services, new training. A lot of that stuff uh, has kind of been around for a little while. It's just a lot of times we're slow to adapt to it. I know I kind of grabbed on fairly quickly because I have a mentor, and she makes sure that I'm on the latest cusp of what's going on, and she's constantly preaching to me about uh, your smart HQ. I have that. I've had it for several years now, and it really does a wonder for dishwashers. I use that all the time. I really my specialty is dishwashers. The thing that most people don't want to do, they don't want to deal with water, they want to deal with the plumbing. I love it. I have no problem with it. So I get a lot of dishwashers. MyPointsHelp.com, you know, and that's just the appliance blue book, but the digital version. I love it because at at a certain point, you know, pricing is going to be pricing, and you're going to get the hang of that. But once you put that model number in, it's going to give you a list of parts that with percentages of how often they go out. So if you kind of lean in one way when you receive that phone call that, maybe that dishwasher isn't cleaning the dishes very good, and you're asking, hey, uh, do you hear any water? And they really don't know, so we have our water valve, we have our circulation pump, we have our control board. Those are the main things that you're going to have, you know. So it can help you to try and, take the available parts that you have within your grasp with you when you go out to the call. And it helps give you some tips and whatnot as to which way to go when you see those percentages. So, you just definitely want to do your triage, but use that as in addition to, so it can help you out. MSA World, a lot of people use appliantology. I use both. MSA World has a lot of great training and also a lot of great uh, schematics and technical information. Sometimes it has a lot more than appliantology. Sometimes appliantology has more than MSA, but I use them in conjunction. And start using ChatGPT for just about everything. And ChatGPT really helps out. You can plug in what the customer said and throw the model number, serial number, and then throw in what the customer said, and it'll bring up related topics and articles. And you can that's something you can have your back office person do. Hey, take this, put it in the chat GPT, get the model and serial number, get a description of what's going on, and then have that ready for me. So, now you're gonna have a little bit more of a gist of what's going on. You know, take all these tools and use it to your advantage. Don't just say, yeah, that chat GPT, that's for people playing or people trying to write blog posts. No, take it and utilize it for what you need it for. Okay. And learning to say no. That's the age-old deal with appliance repair. When you start your own business, people spread you too thin, and you're trying to help people. If you want to help someone, you can go ahead and donate money to your church or charity. But a lot of times, you not having the ability to say no will bog down your appliance repair business, just like not having good consistency. And a lot of times we'll get past that at the beginning of our career in appliance repair, but there are some people who just don't know how to say no. I got myself into big trouble working with a customer before. Uh, just look at my refrigerator. Tell me what you think. And then he starts to grab tools and start taking off the door. So now I'm helping him hold up this door, and he didn't take all the screws out. Now it's, yeah, it's cattywonker, and it was just a big, big mess. And trying to get that door back on with all the food in there, weighing it down and the drinks. I should have just said no. Said, no, sir, I came for your oven. I'm working on that. You'll have to send another service call for your refrigerator. But no, me trying to be Mr. Helpful threw me way off, put me like 35, 40 minutes behind trying to help him get this door back on, something I'm not getting paid for. It was just a big, big mistake. So it was like, within all the complacency issues and trying to branch out and network, make sure if it's not going to serve you or help you, to just say no. All right, so I got a couple of little deals here. I asked for a couple prompts for you guys that you can take, and I'll make these slides available for you, everyone. But this is LinkedIn, just casual communication. Actually, go ahead and set up your profile if you don't have one, and start to network with other like-minded entrepreneurs and businessmen that could be in your area. I'm sure there's someone just like you out there in the area who has an appliance repair business, might be just above you or just below you, and you guys can help each other out by forming that networking relationship, and possibly later on a business relationship. There are so many times that people don't get help because they don't ask and they don't reach out and they don't talk. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, fellas. So make sure you're networking, reaching out. Another place to grab help is the Facebook forums. You want to make sure if you're in those Facebook appliance repair forums, grab you some help, reach out, and network, collab, seeking fellow business owners to collaborate with. As a solopreneur in the appliance repair field, I'm looking to build a network of professionals. I believe we can all benefit from sharing resources, referring clients, offering mutual support. If you're a business owner in a related field, let's connect and see how we can help each other grow. As simple as that. Just everybody's in these forums. Everyone is out here trying to work together if we extend our hands. So don't be like me. I need you guys to reach out. If you need a little help, let us know. We'll do our best to try and help out. Also, you can always comment down below. We'll try to get to you as quick as possible. I'll get up and I'll make these notes available to you guys if you want to go over them again. And make sure that you learn from Apple. Sometimes you have to reach out to others. Sometimes you have to check out technology, stay ahead of the curve, start using technology, and don't be the last to actually grasp technology.